This podcast may contain paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap podcast, where I discuss the nuts and bolts of business and leadership, with a focus on bootstrapping a business from the ground up. This podcast is for all entrepreneurs, bootstrappers, and leaders in all walks of life. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I am your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Audible has the world's largest collection of audiobooks, as well as other spoken word content, such as podcasts, Audible originals, and college lectures. I really do love Audible. I do use it all the time. It's with me on my phone everywhere. I listen to it all the time. It's really a great place to learn. Most of or a lot of the information I give, I got a good chunk of it from listening to books on business and leadership and personal growth on Audible. Matter of fact, one of the more impactful books was The Go Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. The Go Giver is a great little story about a businessman who goes and he's struggling and he goes to find a mentor to teach him how to become a better businessman. And he finds out the most important part of that, of being a businessman, is giving. If you want to know more, you can go and listen to my podcast interview with Bob Burg. You can go look at the 5 laws, which I've talked about in the podcast afterwards. And today I'm going to be tackling another one of those laws. And I do suggest you can go back and listen to the interview I did with John David Mann about writing. I've now interviewed both authors. So it's a great book. I now have a real personal connection to it. And you can get a free copy, by the way, by going over to audible.com/bootstrap with the capital B. That's audible.com/bootstrap with the capital B. And while you're over there, you can just set up a free 30-day trial. You get 1 audio book, 2 Audible originals, and access to the streaming library for the entire 30 days. Afterwards, it's only $14.95 a month, and each month you will get the same: 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and access to the streaming service. There is no contract. You can cancel at any time. No binding contract, I should say. You can cancel at any time. The customer service is great. And the app they have is awesome. You can pause it, go back, bookmark it. Oh, and you can listen on one phone, go to your computer, and log on and listen from the exact spot you left off. It's really amazing. Go check it out, audible.com/bootstrap. So today, as I had mentioned, been talking about the Go-Giver laws of stratospheric success. And I'm going to talk about the last one here. The Law of Receptivity, which states the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. And if you listen to the interview I had with Bob, this is oftentimes the hardest one, at least for me, to do. It's really hard for me to let people give to me, to receive, to be open, and allow others to take care of my needs. And I think I've talked about this before when I talked about the wounded medic. I try to give, and I don't let anyone help me until I can't give anymore, and it just can come to a screeching halt. And I like the example Bob gives. He says, take a deep breath, now blow it out, and keep blowing. And blow and blow and blow. Eventually, you're going to run out of air, and you can't keep blowing until you receive more air by taking a breath in. So it's impossible to give without receiving. And you really should be able to give after you receive. It's a really good point. And a lot of people also try to get without giving. And he said that's like going up to the fire and saying, first warm me up, then I'll add some wood on. So there's this whole idea that in order to give, you have to receive, but in order to receive, you must also give. It's like breathing. It's like plants breathing out breathing out oxygen, and we get oxygen in, and we breathe out carbon dioxide, which goes to the plants. You have to be able to receive, and it's so weird, that concept, but so true, because again, you can't be a giver if you don't have anything to give. And it's really hard because it's easy to feel bad about getting. It's really hard to be receiving sometimes. Sometimes it's our pride getting in the way. Sometimes it's our fear. Sometimes when we receive help, we feel like we failed in some place. There's this whole thing of being able to receive and go from there. And it's very important and it's very hard to deal with. And this plays along into being the nice guy who finishes last because you let people walk all over you. Instead of receiving, you just let yourself kind of be abused, be a doormat. But there's a good balance to find, and it's hard to find. So, in order to be able to give, you must be able to receive. You need to be open to receiving payment for your goods and services in order to give to other people to build your business. Here's another thought I just had on that. A lot of people in business are afraid to price too high because they're afraid of ripping people off. And by doing so, they don't even price enough to cover their costs. I've talked about pricing before. I've talked about covering your costs before. I've talked about making sure that you have enough to stay open. And a big part of this is being open to receive payment for your services. If you're not willing to receive a good payment for your services and you feel like you need to price low, then you're not really open to receiving. And it can slow you back down and hold you back. So, again, in a nutshell, this is going to be a short one tonight. In order to be able to give, you need to finally be willing to be authentic and be open to receive. And since this is the last one of the 5 laws, let me go over them once really quick. The 5 laws of stratospheric success, per the Go Giver. The law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. The law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. And these first 2, Bob, when I was talking to him, talks about, say, a accountant who does accounting services for $1,000. You, as a business, hire this accountant to do your books, and you pay the $1,000. She does her books. She does them quickly. She finds you more than $1,000 worth of tax breaks, and you are very happy with her services. You got way more than $1,000 worth in her services, and of course, she's very happy to take $1,000. And then, because you're happy and she's happy, you tell your friends, and your friends now hire her, and she's able to serve multiple people very, very well, and she makes a lot more money. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. The law of influence states your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. And it's really true. If I know some good salespeople that I've met and some guys at, for example, a phone shop where the manager and the assistant manager took so good care of my needs, I would always go back to them and buy phones from them. I talked to them, became friends with them. And how did they influence me to come back and be super loyal to this phone company? Because they took really good care of my needs. They were looking out for me. They weren't trying to sell me stuff. They were just taking good care. When it was time to get a new phone, I went to them and got a new phone. And it was not because they tried to sell me. It wasn't because they were trying to be slick or anything else. It's because when I had a phone that I didn't even buy at their shop, they took such good care of me as if they sold it to me in the first place. It really gave them a lot of influence over me. Really, really cool. The law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. You have to be real. You have to be authentic. And the authentic you that is authentically giving and helping other people is what's going to draw people to you. And again, it has to be real, because we all know a person that tries to be your friend, and you know that, yeah, they're just trying to sell you something. Don't like it. So you have to be real. And then back to today's, and the final wrap up is the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. Now, one thing I have to say about these, if you do 4 out of 5, it's not going to work. If you do 1 out of 5, it's not going to work. Every one of these are good. You need to influence people by putting people first. It's all good. But to unlock the true power of all this, to really hit the stratospheric success, you have to use all of them. For example, my business, I can give good value. I try to take really good care of my customers, put their needs first. I try to be very real about it, really take care of them. I try to be open to receive, but I'm not good at serving a lot of people, and therefore my income has been lower because I have not served a mass amount of people in my business. And the more people I served, and the better I got at marketing and serving other people, the more money I made. And I was actually growing my business fairly decently until, of course, COVID hit. But again, if you leave one off, it's not going to help. You got to do all 5 to really, really hit it hard. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I do have to say, highly suggest, go check out The Go-Giver. It's a great little book. They call it a parable. That's why everything worked out so well. It's a parable, it's a story, but it's done really, really well. And if you want to know more about The Go-Giver, you can go listen to my podcast with Bob Berg. And then if you want to actually know more about writing a book and what that means, you can also check out my interview with the other author, John David Mann. And we talk more about how to write a book than we did about The Go-Giver. But go check it out over on my podcast. Links are on our page. You have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you would like to directly support the show, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts as well. If you would like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast and Atheoz Business Solutions Podcast. For our companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes, and related blogs, check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is www.atheoz.com, or theoz.com. Until next time, I've been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.